Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be making a video on the E36 M3. This is kind of requested. I've had a few people DM me on Instagram about making one of these videos because I've wanted to for a while. I haven't really found the time to make one. Today I have the time. It's actually a good day for filming. It's overcast, so even lighting. Also, I just have really enjoyed driving this car, and I really wanted to make this video so I can give people a perspective from me now owning this car after I've had this car for about 3 months, so I think I'm able to give my pros and cons. But today I'm going to be focusing on 5 things I absolutely love about my E36 M3. Let's get right into it. Okay, so I didn't bring an external mic for this video, but it should be okay. It shouldn't be too loud. Anyways, let's get right into it. Okay, so there are a lot of things that make this car great and why they're so desirable. And I'm going to talk about a few of those things, specifically 5 of those things. Now, to preface this video, everything I talk about today is not going to be specifically about what I've done to this car. This would be me referring to a bone stock E36 M3. And technically, aside from aesthetics and cosmetic pieces, this car is bone stock at the moment. We'll go over some things later on about what is in the works for this car, but for now, let's get into the top 5 things that I absolutely love about this car. And of course, I will be doing a top 5 things I hate about this car, because there are some things I don't like about this car. But don't let that discourage you, because the pros definitely outweigh the cons with this car. And again, it's just something that's important to talk about. If you're thinking of buying one, hopefully this is just another video that you can use point of reference that will help affect your decision if you're thinking about purchasing one. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, quite honestly, is the overall look of my E36. And like I said, I mean, the cosmetic stuff definitely helps it, but in stock form, this car is absolutely beautiful. And I think when you say 90s BMWs, and people think of that era of BMW, they think of this car, specifically the M3, but generalizing the 3 Series, I mean, this is just such a good platform, but they just look so good, and they are timeless in my opinion, because the 90s boxy style, you know, it's just something that I feel like you hate it or you love it, and for me, I love it, and it's something that never gets old to me, you know. It's one thing to have a new car that has all the creature comforts. It's another thing to have a car that looks like this. You know, they don't make them like this anymore. They're not going to look like this ever again. It's just something about the boxy look, especially in the coupe, that I absolutely love. So, I mean, that has to be number 1. And on top of that, I mean, I got this car in a very lucky color combo, the Daytona Violet on Dove Gray. There wasn't a whole lot of these made in this combo. I believe it's 301. So this is a 1 out of 301 car. Yes, the paint is not perfect on this car, but it's 25 years old. There's no peeling. The clear coat is starting to fail in certain spots, but it's all stuff that can be remedied and fixed. Overall, the paint's in good shape, and I just love the appearance of this car, especially, like I said, with the cosmetic things. The AC schnitzers are awesome. The Euro, if you want to do the Euro corners plus the side markers. I also have the European glass headlights. The US models did not get those, but easy, really cheap actually mod to do is all this lighting stuff. I believe you can do it all basically for around 300 bucks. Not to mention the rear end, especially when you clean it up a little bit. As you can see, I don't have a very prime example of it, but you know, things take time, and I'm working on it. But I do have the Depot clear smoked, you know, I guess you could call them Euro spec only lights, because you can't get them in the US unless you get them you order them and they take months to show up. I got lucky on these, but that's besides the point. All right, that leads me into my second point of, why I love this car so much. My second reason would be the interior. Specifically, I guess the Dove Gray. At first, I wasn't super stoked on it, but after driving the car, and especially with the purple, I fell in love with his interior. And this is kind of a love and a hate because it's built so horribly with all the pleather and shit that BMW used to engineer this car when they built it. I think they just cheaped out on materials, but nevertheless, the finished product came out great in good condition, and I was lucky to find a car in very good condition. These Vaders, I mean, there's no rips, minimal wrinkles and stuff like that, but there's no rips, no tears, and they've been pretty preserved, along with the rest of the interior, aside from the notorious E36 headliner issues. Everybody knows about them. If you know these cars, it's happened to you, and if not, you're just lucky, and it will happen. Now, again, about the interior, the reason I love it so much is, I'll play some B-roll so you guys can see, but it really feels like when you drive this car, it really does feel like you're in kind of like an aircraft, I guess, because everything is directed towards the driver, which I feel like is really important. Given that it is a driver's car, it's something that I think a lot of people take for granted, or you don't realize you love so much until you have it. I mean, everything is just directed towards you, just the littlest amount for you to like it so much. Everything is faced towards the driver, which is awesome. I think it's great, and it's a great feeling driving the car, and it's very crucial to me now. It's one of those E36 things that just is like a must-have if I'm gonna have a BMW, specifically in an E36. It's a clean interior, because these interiors, like I said, they're just not made very well, but I got lucky on this car, and the interior is to die for if it's in good shape. In my opinion, this is all, obviously subjective to what your car condition is and what kind of driver you are and if you like it or not. I don't know, but it's something I really enjoy, and it's something I didn't think I would enjoy so much until I really sat in the car and drove it a lot. Me being 6'6", it's not very comfortable, but that's me being 6'6". I feel for most people 6 foot, it's reasonably comfortable driving position wise, but there's multiple things to remedy that, like a steering wheel that comes closer to you, or a bucket seat so you can sit lower in the car. But those are all things that can easily be done to change the whole driving feel of this car, and definitely change the car up for the good. All right, and now what you're looking at is the S50 engine that comes in the E36 M3, specifically in the 95 year for the US cars. 96 and up had the S52. Now this is a 3-liter inline 6, so the thing rips and it redlines at 8,000 RPMs. So this thing really does scream in the top end, especially with the Vanos. The variable valve timing is something that I guess you kind of just have to experience yourself. I would just compare it to VTEC, to be honest. It's Germany's answer to it's variable valve timing. So you get that little extra boost, which is sweet once you get I forget what the RPM is, but you get past a certain RPM and the car gives you that extra kick, that extra torque, and it pulls a little harder. So that's something I really enjoy about the car. And on top of that, these engines are fucking tanks, man. They hold so much power on a stock internal. I mean, people boost these cars and don't really do much to accompany that. These cars take boost very well, and they just hold up well. You don't have to worry about a turbo. I love that this thing is naturally aspirated. Coming from a 335i, this thing has alleviated a lot of my headaches dealing with an M54. It's just something that's a little lower maintenance. I would compare it, the S54 is a very desirable engine, and people arguably is one of the best engines that BMW has made, especially in inline 6. I think this is a very good engine. I cannot attest to the S52, given I have not driven one personally. I don't really know the differences between the S50 and the S52, but I know it's not like a catastrophic difference. Generally, there's something to be said about a naturally aspirated inline 6, and this applies to the M50 and the M52 because they're actually quite similar. The S50 just makes a little bit more power. And again, I can't really stress enough how fun an S50 is that's naturally aspirated. It's 240 horsepower, I believe. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's 240 horsepower and somewhere around there in torque. 220, I believe. I'm not 100% sure because I can't remember. It's not something you really pay attention to, given that this car is totally a momentum car. A lot of people will argue that it's not enough power, but for me, I mean, I fucking love the car and I love driving it. Even with the stock power, it feels great. I don't like feel the urge to, you know, apply more power to the car. I just feel like it does really good. And like I said, it's pretty reliable. I haven't had any issues yet. I mean, knock on wood, but I really haven't. And it's just something that I feel like you don't get to experience anymore. You know, all the new BMWs are 4-cylinder turbos, or, you know, it's just, or the inline 6 turbos. It's just, it's cool to have that, but also this feels right and it's period correct and it just works. And like I said, I can't really speak on an S52. I can't speak on an S50 turbo. I can't speak on an S52 turbo. I can't speak on an S54 swap. I can't speak on an LS swap, and so on. There's so many variations that you can experience with this car if you decide to engine swap it, or like I said, if you decide to boost it. So there's a lot of potential for this engine specifically. Just the M50 blocks and the M52 and the S50 and so on. Just this era of BMW, I think they nailed it as close as they can, you know, with the littlest faults. Most of the faults in this car kind of lie into the chassis, which will be talked about in a whole separate video. But this is something that wasn't really a selling point for me at first until I experienced it. So that's definitely number 3. Third reason I love this car is the engine, the powertrain. All right, now the fourth reason I absolutely love this car is kind of how it drives. It drives really good. I mean, it handles extremely well. And like I said, this whole era of BMW, they really nailed it across the board with the drivetrain and kind of just how it feels. It drives really, really good. You feel planted all the time. You always feel safe and secure. It's a confidence-inspiring car to drive. The best way I can explain it is like a Miata with more horsepower, or just like a go-kart. The car really does feel like a go-kart. It's light, it's very nimble, the steering is very tight on it, and like I said, it feels good. Like, you can drive this thing on a back road very fast and kind of forget how fast you're going, because it's totally a momentum car. The naturally aspirated inline 6 is good, it's very good, and you know, the people that crave more power go for that. But if you want to take this on a back road, the 240 horsepower is plenty, because this car is totally about momentum. And that is something that people had always said to me before I got the car. But until I got to take it out on a road and really drive it, you know, myself hard and experience it, I didn't understand all the hype behind it. It's something I can't stress enough. It really is a fun car to drive. And again, it's hard to explain through a camera, but until you get to drive one of these cars, I don't think you really get to experience what it's all about. I mean, this car is insane. And again, for 25 years old, it handles like a new car. And it gives you the driver confidence that you need, or that people crave to, you know, really push the car. I haven't really pushed this car. I know it can go farther, and I know I can drive it harder. But like I said, it's confidence inspiring. This car can get you in a lot of trouble because it's so confidence inspiring that you just have no idea how fast you're going sometimes, which is kind of a great reason to own one of these cars. It's not crazy horsepower or numbers, but back in the day, 95, that's a big number, and it definitely shows in a chassis like this. So anyways, that is the number 4 reason I love to drive this car, and I think you should buy one. All right, I did want to talk about the 5th thing in the car, because the wind noise is bad and I don't want to ruin the whole clip with wind noise. I already did that. So the 5th and final reason is going to be the manual transmission. It's something I think a lot of people don't realize they need until they get it, and this is coming from a guy that didn't really know how to drive stick that good before I got this car, and I came from a 335 with an automatic, and it was sweet. It was very fast. The transmission, the shifting was like just like that. It was just so quick. But that car was sweet. It was fast, and that was it. This car, you know, being able to rev match downshift into a corner, and power out in the right gear, at the right RPMs is kind of crucial if you're going to drive this car the way it was intended to be driven. I've driven the automatic E36s, and their transmissions are dog shit. They're just not worth getting. So if you decide to pick up one of these cars, make sure that you get a manual, or, you know, eventually plan to swap in a manual. Or maybe it's really not your thing to have a manual. I know for me now, owning a manual that I could really drive, especially in this car, it's just crucial. It's so important, and it'll change your whole perspective on this car specifically. Because if you get an automatic M3, then it's just a 240 horsepower car. You can't utilize the gears, and you can't utilize, I mean, it's still a momentum car at the end of the day, but you really can't utilize the power the way you would want to, that you can achieve with driving a manual. So that's really my fifth reason. I didn't really know that it was, you know, such a good thing until I had it. So manual transmission is definitely crucial. And aside from that, I mean, I love this car. There's a few things I don't like, and I'll be making a video covering that separately. Like it doesn't handle all too good currently, because I have blown struts, and they just need to be replaced. I have ordered BC extreme low coilovers, so, you know, take that with what you will. So those are coming in soon, so stay tuned. If you are a subscriber, make sure to stay tuned, because they're coming in like a month, because they have to be built. It's a 4 to 6 lead time from BC, so whatever. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you found this video informative. I know when I was looking to buy one of these cars, I was looking at these videos, and they definitely helped, you know, sway me in the right direction of what spec I was looking for. And like I said, I just can't translate everything through a camera, so you're gonna have to drive one of these cars for yourself and experience it. And that's kind of like my 3-month recap also. It's just, these are the 5 things I've found in the 3 months that I've owned the car that I absolutely love, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Like, this car is perfect. You know, in a perfect condition car, this car would be absolutely amazing. And it already is amazing, but other than that, I'm just rambling. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe for some more content, specifically M3 content. Like the video if you did enjoy it. Other than that, I'm out. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.